Hey everyone, Mike here from EZDrone. We've done a handful of Wi-Fi card upgrades for the 3DR Solo transmitter. It increases your power output from 400 milliwatts to 800 milliwatts. And in that process, there's one thing that we want to bring to light to the community. It might not apply to you, but it's worth taking a look into if you're having poor reception issues, poor transmit issues, if your craft is randomly going to failsafe, any of those situations. So we're going to cover how to open the transmitter and take a look at what we discovered. The tools required for this job will be a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, something to keep your screws in so you don't lose them, and your 3DR Solo remote. When working with any electronics, safety is paramount. Let's start with the battery removal. So pop the tray off, remove the foam insert, prevents the battery from sliding, and gently pull the cable until you release the connector. For this next step, we'll be removing the smart device holder. Using your Phillips head screwdriver, loosen these two screws. They're colleted, so they won't back all the way out. Gently rock it back and release it from its hole. Next, unscrew your antennas and set them aside. There will be a total of 5 screws that you'll have to undo to release the frame. Now that you have the screws removed, you'll use your flathead screwdriver for the next part. So there are 3 snap locations, 1, 2, and 3, that we'll have to release so that the frame will come apart. So gently insert the flathead screwdriver into the gap and twist. You'll feel it pop apart and notice that it spreads apart there. So you repeat the process 2 more times and you'll be able to pull the frame apart. Now that you have the frame apart, there are 2 cables that we'll need to disconnect. One is for power, and one is a data cable connected to the Wi-Fi module inside the control. Let's start with removing the power wire first. Grab as close to the connector as possible and gently pull up to avoid damaging the cables. For this next portion, we have a larger Molex connector, so we find it easier to utilize a flathead screwdriver and rock from side to side until you release the connector. Carefully flip over the back of the controller. Be sure not to add any extra strain so you don't damage your cables or connectors for your antennas. For this next step, you'll need your Phillips head screwdriver. There will be a total of 4 screws that you'll have to remove to release the Wi-Fi card from the back side of the casing. This will allow us access to the cable connectors attached to the antennas. Take care when lifting the Wi-Fi card. There's a small amount of adhesive from the factory that can prematurely pull the cables apart before we can check. What we're looking for is to make sure these connectors are completely seated. On a couple of occasions, we have found that these connectors, though they are glued from the factory, aren't completely seated. Situations like this can lead you into false return to homes, loss of reception, and loss of control of the craft. Once you have verified that your cable connectors are completely seated, we need to reapply silicone sealer, or in this case, liquid electrical tape. When applying the liquid electrical tape or sealer, use only enough to ensure that the connectors will stay seated in the future to prevent any further problems. Once the adhesive is completely dry, you can then reassemble your controller. Thanks for watching. I hope that video was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us at EZDrone.com or come to any of our store locations.